You were not sent here to drift. You were sent here to win. And until you begin to act like it, life will treat you as it treats all men who hesitate, with delay, difficulty, and defeat. Because the law of life is simple. The world will mirror your belief about yourself. If you think small, it will keep you small. If you walk in faith, it will make room for you. Right now, you may doubt that. You may say, but I've failed too many times. I've wasted too many years. That is the first lie you must kill. The lie that failure was ever meant to define you. Failure was never your destiny. It was your instruction. It came to show you that drifting cannot lead to dominion and hesitation cannot create greatness. Every man who has ever achieved victory began in the same place you stand now, uncertain, tired, and doubtful. But they rose because they decided that defeat would no longer be their teacher. Look at Henry Ford. When every banker in America laughed at his dream, he did not retreat. He said, I will build a motor car for the great multitude. And the world obeyed. Look at Thomas Edison, 10,000 failures, yet each one only proved to him that success was inevitable. He was not lucky. He was loyal to his purpose, loyal to the law. Look at Andrew Carnegie. He began as a telegraph boy and became a king of steel because he acted as one sent to rule, not one begging for permission to live. The same law governs you. The same power lives in you. But until you act like one chosen for victory, the world will continue to test your indecision. If you walk like a defeated man, your family will feel it. Your children will sense it. Your friends will mirror it. Your rivals will laugh at it. But when you begin to think and act as though destiny favors you, everything shifts. Your tone changes. Your posture straightens. Your eyes take on certainty. You stop asking, can I, and begin saying, I will. And here is the secret. The world treats you according to the tone of your belief. No man escapes this law. If you move through life expecting loss, you will find it at every corner. If you expect victory, even mountains will move aside to let you pass. So I ask you, how long will you live as if fate were against you? How many more days will you speak of luck instead of law? Because here is the truth most never face. Failure is not a punishment. It is a pause. It waits for the man who will rise and command it to serve him. Every defeat carries a seed of equal or greater benefit if you claim it. But most men never do because they are addicted to self-pity. They cling to their excuses as though they were medals of honor. They tell stories about why they could not instead of stories about how they will. And that is why 99% remain where they are. Not because the law failed them, but because they refuse to act like the law applied to them. But you, if you have ears to hear this message, you are not among them. Because something inside you already knows you were meant for more. You have felt it in quiet moments when you looked at your reflection and knew you had not yet met the man you could be. You have felt it when watching others succeed, not in envy, but in recognition. That should be me. And you were right. It should be, it can be, it will be the moment you decide that it must. Let me show you how this law works. The world does not reward effort. It rewards definiteness. Effort without direction is like a ship without a rudder, busy but lost. When you think as one sent here to win, you no longer waste motion. Every thought becomes an arrow. Every hour becomes gold. You stop scattering your power on what-ifs and start pouring it into what must be. That is the first mark of a man who wins. Focus born of faith. And something strange begins to happen when you think this way. People begin to treat you differently. Your spouse sees confidence where there used to be confusion. Your children watch you with new respect. Your colleagues sense authority in your voice. Even your critics hesitate because the energy of doubt is gone. That is the unseen reward of definiteness. It changes not only your results, but how the world perceives you. You move from needing validation to commanding admiration. Now let us speak plainly about the cost of ignoring this truth. If you continue to think like a man fated to fail, the years ahead will look exactly like the years behind you, only heavier. You will work harder and feel smaller. You will chase approval and lose peace. You will gather possessions and feel poorer still, because without a sense of destiny, success becomes labor without meaning. And here is the greater tragedy. Your children will inherit your belief. They will copy your hesitation, they will speak your fears, and the chain of defeat will continue through them. Not because they lacked ability, but because they copied your doubt. But imagine the opposite. Imagine you awaken tomorrow and act as if Providence itself sent you here to fulfill a purpose no one else could. You would rise with energy. You would speak with conviction. You would move as though victory was certain because in truth it is. The moment you decide that failure is no longer an option, success begins to look for you. The right people appear, the right ideas form, the right strength returns, because the universe does not honor weakness, it honors decision. That is why I tell you to act as one sent here to win. Walk into each day with that single conviction. I am not here by accident. I am here by assignment. Say it when you wake, say it when you doubt. Say it until your subconscious mind accepts it as law, because once it does, your old identity will die. The timid man will vanish. The indecisive man will fade, and in his place will stand one who knows what he came for and will not leave without it. And when that moment arrives, nothing external can defeat you. Not the economy, not critics, not even the weight of your past. Because men who act from destiny do not chase success. Success chases them. They no longer ask permission to win. They expect to. That is the posture of the 1%. Not arrogance, not pride, but an unshakable belief in the law of cause and effect, that every thought backed by faith becomes fact. So I say to you now, cast off the lie that failure defines you. It was never written in your blueprint. It was written in your hesitation. Decide today that your future is already won and act accordingly. Speak it, walk it, demand it, because the world you see is merely a reflection of the world within you. Change the image and the mirror must follow. Act like you were sent here to win. And you will because you were. Failure is not your destiny. Victory is. And from this moment forward, nothing less shall satisfy you. Every man who has ever risen from obscurity to greatness began with a single realization that he was not born to drift but to rule. The animals obey instinct. The timid obey circumstance, but man was designed to command both. He was sent here not as a beggar for chance, but as a builder of destiny. When he forgets this, he becomes weak. When he remembers it, he becomes divine. The first dominion is not over others, but over oneself. For until a man governs his thoughts, he cannot govern his world. I have said before that thought is the most powerful form of energy known to man. It creates worlds, lifts nations, and builds fortunes. Yet most men use it as a toy rather than a tool. They let it wander and then wonder why their lives wander with it. A man's outer condition is but the shadow of his inner command. If his mind is restless, his world is chaotic. If his mind is disciplined, his world becomes orderly. The man who learns to give his thought a definite purpose and hold it there until it yields has found the secret of dominion. All power begins with self-command. I call this the law of dominion. Life obeys the man who governs his own mind. It does not ask whether he is rich or poor, favored or forgotten. It only asks, does he command or does he drift? The drifter is carried by winds of chance. The master commands the wind. One is slave to circumstance, the other is the author of it. Failure was never meant to punish, it was meant to instruct. Every defeat is a question from life. Will you command yourself or surrender? Those who learn this law rise. Those who ignore it repeat their mistakes until they remember their authority. Failure is the whip that drives the timid toward self-control. It is the mirror that reveals where command has been lost. Henry Ford once said, "Thinking is the hardest work there is," and so it is. For true thought is not idle wandering, but mental direction. Ford ruled his imagination as a general rules his army. He would sit in silence, picturing his vision so clearly that no ridicule could erase it. The world called him stubborn. He called it discipline. And discipline is the proof of dominion. Thomas Edison ruled persistence as Ford ruled imagination. Where most men saw exhaustion, Edison saw an order to continue. He did not ask permission from circumstance. He issued orders to it. 10,000 failures did not break his spirit, for he had learned that persistence is the weapon of the master. Every trial bent itself before his will. Andrew Carnegie governed purpose. He began as a telegraph boy, but he acted as though he were already an industrial leader. His words carried conviction. His plans carried faith. He said, "I resolved to stop drifting and start directing." Within years, steel bowed to his command. Men called him fortunate, but fortune was only the shadow of faith backed by discipline. Man's greatest rebellion is hesitation. Every time you delay a decision, you deny your own authority. You rebel against your divine assignment. Life has given you power over thought, speech, and action, and every moment you hesitate, you hand that power back to fear. Hesitation is rebellion. Decision is obedience to purpose. Drift is treason against destiny. The drifter believes he has time, but time belongs only to the decisive. The drifter waits for signs. The master creates them. The drifter seeks comfort. The master seeks conquest. The drifter asks for opportunity. The master commands it. The difference between them lies not in ability, but in dominion. The ability to hold a single thought until it becomes law. You can always know a man who governs himself. His eyes do not wander. His voice carries weight. He does not need to announce authority. It radiates from him. He walks calmly amid confusion because he has mastered the storm within. The world instinctively obeys him because the world obeys order, and he has become order embodied. Others sense when you have taken command of yourself. Your words cut deeper. Your presence alters the atmosphere of a room. People trust you more readily, not because you have proven anything outwardly, but because your energy declares, "This man knows." Confidence is the perfume of dominion. It cannot be faked, for the subconscious of others detects truth immediately. Repeat these affirmations until they are carved into your soul. I was sent to rule, not to retreat. My thoughts obey me, therefore the world must obey me. I am master of self, therefore master of circumstance. These are not words of pride, but of responsibility. To rule oneself is to serve life faithfully. Dominion is not tyranny over others. It is control over one's own lower nature, one's own fears, doubts, and impulses. He who masters self can never be enslaved. Most men fight the wrong battles. They fight circumstances, people, or luck. But the true warrior fights within. He captures his own attention, restrains his own anger, disciplines his own laziness. Every victory over self becomes a command over the world. You cannot ask life to obey you while you disobey yourself. When a man commands his thought, even difficulty becomes his servant. The obstacles that once frightened him begin to yield. His mind no longer reacts to appearances, but directs them. He no longer says, "This is impossible." He says, "This will be done." That single shift in tone divides the ruler from the ruled. Consider this law carefully. The mind can only hold one master thought at a time. If you do not choose that thought, fear will. And fear, once allowed to govern, creates its own kingdom of limitation. Therefore, each morning you must select your ruling idea. Let it be faith, not doubt. Let it be purpose, not wandering. Let it be decision, not delay. Every great man you admire has lived by this discipline. Lincoln ruled emotion. He refused to let anger command his hand. Rockefeller ruled order. He demanded precision in all things. Edison ruled imagination. Ford ruled faith. Dominion is the unseen crown they all wore. You too must wear it. Life tests every man's claim of authority. It will send confusion to see if you can remain clear, noise to see if you can remain calm, temptation to see if you can remain loyal. Each trial asks one question. Have you truly taken command of yourself? Those who answer yes rise. Man was not made to drift. The drifting mind is like a boat without a rudder. It moves but never arrives. The man of dominion, however, sails by chart and compass. He knows his direction. Therefore, the wind becomes his ally. The same storms that destroy the drifter carry him to success. This is the divine paradox. When you stop fighting for control over others and take control over yourself, the world begins to yield. You no longer chase. You attract. You no longer plead. You command. And yet your command is not arrogance. It is harmony with law. You are not defying nature. You are obeying it. Let failure become your instructor, not your identity. Each mistake reveals a truth about your command. Did you waver? Did you delay? Did you surrender to fear? Then take the lesson and correct the command. Failure is but the mirror that shows where you have not yet mastered yourself. Repeat within, I was sent to rule. Say it until you feel it. Because the truth is this, weakness is learned, power is remembered. You were born to command your life. Somewhere along the path, the world taught you to doubt. But you can unlearn doubt faster than you acquired it. Speak power until it feels natural again. At night before sleep, conduct what I call the evening council. Sit in stillness and ask, did I govern my thought today? If not, forgive yourself and renew your authority. Then give your subconscious a final order for tomorrow. I shall think, act, and walk as one sent to rule, and in the morning, awaken not as a beggar for opportunity, but as its commander. Move through the day with deliberate thought, controlled emotion, and definite aim. When confusion arises, pause and remind yourself, my mind obeys me. Therefore, the world must obey me. Soon you will notice that your outer life begins to organize itself around this inner order. People will respect your time because you respect your thought. Circumstances will align with your plans because your mind has ceased contradicting itself. Even difficulty will seem to assist you because you have ceased to resist it. The man who rules his thought has already begun to rule the world. Dominion over self is the first and final mastery. All else flows from it. When you command your mind with faith, the unseen world bends to listen. And as you listen to my words now, let this truth settle deeply. You are not sent here to drift in fear, nor to bow to failure. You were sent here to lead, to stand upright as the image of order in a world of confusion. Speak it aloud before rest. I was sent to rule, not to retreat. For the moment a man accepts that truth, his destiny obeys it. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must stop asking and start declaring. Until that moment, he lives as a beggar in the house of abundance, surrounded by opportunity yet paralyzed by indecision. The hesitant man spends his years asking, what should I do? The decisive man says, this is what I shall do, and the universe rushes to obey him. Indecision is the silent assassin of power. It drains energy, corrodes confidence, and invites chaos. The undecided mind sends two opposing orders to the subconscious. I want and I fear. And the subconscious, loyal but confused, obeys both, producing mixed results, half successes, and endless frustration. The indecisive man becomes his own saboteur. The decisive man, however, speaks with authority. He does not wait for certainty before acting. His decision creates certainty. He moves forward in faith, knowing that infinite intelligence will meet him halfway. Life always bends in favor of the man who moves with purpose. The one who hesitates commands nothing. The one who decides commands all. This is what I call the law of decision. The universe bows to the decisive. Every great success story in human history is a monument to a decision made in the face of uncertainty. Edison deciding to find light in the darkness. Ford deciding to build a motor car for the multitude. Carnegie deciding to turn iron into empires. Each man made a decision that others feared to make, and the world rearranged itself to reward that courage. You may think the difference between a man of destiny and an ordinary man is intelligence or opportunity. It is not. The difference is decision. Decision is the spark that ignites every dormant ability. Without it, even genius remains asleep. With it, even the simplest man awakens his inner power and compels the world to serve his purpose. There is divine magic in decisiveness. The moment you make a firm choice and feel it as truth, unseen forces align. Doors open where walls once stood. People appear whose help you could not have planned. Ideas flow that were hidden before. The indecisive man never sees these miracles because he never moves. Life rewards movement, not hesitation. To decide is to assume the authority of creation. When you say, I have decided, you declare dominion over the invisible. Infinite intelligence hears and responds, for decision is faith expressed. It is man speaking in the tongue of the divine, commanding order out of possibility. Indecision, on the other hand, is a betrayal of that divine nature. It is the soul saying, I do not trust the law. Every time you delay, you tell the universe that you are uncertain of your power. And the universe, being a perfect mirror, returns uncertainty to you. You must learn to trust your own command. The man who waits for all conditions to be right before acting will never act. The man who decides creates right conditions by his decision. Decision is not the end of doubt. It is the death of it. Remember this truth. Hesitation is more costly than error. You can recover from a wrong decision, but you cannot recover from the paralysis of indecision. The world forgives mistakes more readily than it forgives hesitation. Life cannot flow through a man who refuses to move. Abraham Lincoln once said, I am slow to decide, but once decided, I never turn back. That is the essence of power. The decisive man changes direction only when truth demands it, not when fear whispers it. He does not reconsider every rumor or doubt. He has trained his mind to obey his word as law. Ford was no more intelligent than his competitors. What set him apart was the firmness of his decisions. When every banker in America rejected his idea, he said, "I will build my car, not I will try, not I will see, but I will." And those two words carried more creative power than 1,000 cautious plans. Carnegie made his fortune not through luck, but through decision. He decided early in life that he would devote his years to mastering one thing, steel, and that decision gave him direction when others scattered their energy in confusion. Decision concentrates power. Hesitation disperses it. Let this be written upon your heart. All delay is self-created. Life never withholds its blessings. It only waits for you to make up your mind. The moment you decide, the waiting ends. Your mind, your faith, your energy, your surroundings all begin to move in harmony with your command. The indecisive man prays for signs, yet ignores the greatest sign of all, his own desire. Desire is infinite intelligence speaking through you, giving direction to your potential. To delay is to insult the very power that called you. When you feel a strong desire backed by reason and faith, act upon it at once. Decision transforms desire into destiny. Every man's life is a collection of decisions. To delay one is to delay all. Think of the power contained in a single definite choice. When Edison decided to perfect the electric light, he had no guarantee, no money, no approval, only decision. Yet that decision illuminated the world. Decision turns the invisible into the inevitable. Your subconscious mind is like a soldier awaiting orders. It does not argue, it obeys. But it cannot obey conflicting commands. You cannot say, "I want success," and then think, "I fear failure." That is like steering a ship east while rowing west. You must give one order and it must be definite. Every night before sleep, review your thoughts. Ask yourself, did I issue any commands of doubt today? If so, correct them. Replace every uncertainty with a definite instruction. Tell your subconscious exactly what to build. Decision is the language it understands. Repeat this affirmation with feeling. Every decision I make is law to my destiny. I decide once and the world obeys. I walk in clarity. Therefore, opportunity walks toward me. Speak these not as wishes but as facts. Feel the authority in them. Your subconscious is listening. When it senses conviction, it moves mountains to prove you right. There is a quiet dignity in the decisive man. He does not speak quickly, but once he speaks, his word becomes command. People around him feel the weight of certainty. They trust his leadership not because he demands it, but because he embodies it. Decision gives a man presence. The indecisive man changes his plans as often as the wind changes direction. His followers lose confidence. His mind loses focus, and his energy scatters. The decisive man may err, but his momentum corrects the error. Motion guided by faith always outperforms stillness guided by fear. Nature rewards the man who decides. The seed must commit to the soil before it can grow. The river must choose its course before it can reach the sea. So it is with the soul of man. Decision is the act of choosing a channel through which the current of life may flow. Do not wait for emotion to make decisions for you. Emotion is a poor master. It changes with the weather. Decide with reason, then act with faith. Once decided, refuse to entertain contradiction. A mind divided cannot command. Decision is the instrument by which man builds character. Each time you decide, you strengthen the muscle of certainty. Each time you hesitate, you weaken it. The habit of decision leads to destiny. The habit of hesitation leads to decay. Let me tell you of a man who learned this lesson. He was a clerk in a small town, dreaming of wealth, but always doubting his ability. One evening, after hearing a lecture on Definiteness of Purpose, he resolved to act. He wrote on a single page his decision. I will create a product that serves every household in America. That man was Charles Schwab. Within years, his decision lifted him from obscurity to leadership in the steel empire of Carnegie. The world did not crown him by accident. It crowned him for deciding. You too must learn to write your decisions into being. Every night set one definite command for tomorrow. It need not be grand, only clear. Say, tomorrow I shall finish this task, or tomorrow I shall begin this plan. Each small decision builds the muscle of faith. Over time, the mind begins to obey naturally. Do not fear making the wrong choice. Wrong choices refine wisdom. No choice destroys it. The man who fears error remains in error. The man who dares learns to correct swiftly and continue. Decision is not perfection. It is progression. Think of the blacksmith again. Each strike is a decision. Each spark is progress. He does not stop to debate whether his blow was perfect. He continues until the metal yields. so must you. Every decision is a strike toward mastery. Indecision is a disease of the spirit. It disguises itself as caution, but it is fear in polite clothing. Cure it by acting. Action dispels fear as sunlight dispels shadow. Each step taken in faith dissolves doubt. The universe respects courage. It despises stagnation. When you live decisively, others will sense it. They will feel calm in your presence, for decision brings peace. They will listen to your words differently because certainty speaks louder than argument. Even those who oppose you will do so with respect. For decision, when backed by purpose, radiates authority that cannot be denied. Repeat these truths often. The world moves with me. I do not wait for the perfect time. I make time perfect by my decision. I command my destiny through choice. And remember, decision without action is illusion. Do not merely choose. Move. Let every decision express itself through deed. Thought and motion must be one. Each night as you close your eyes, review your life not by results, but by decisions. Ask, did I decide today? If yes, sleep in peace. If no, resolve to choose tomorrow. You will find that each definite choice, no matter how small, adds weight to your character and confidence to your spirit. There will come a day when you will no longer fear the unknown, for the unknown is only the field awaiting your decision. Once you decide, it ceases to be mystery and becomes material. Infinite intelligence loves decisiveness. The very act of choosing declares faith in law. To decide is to say, I believe that what I desire can be. And law, hearing that belief, begins to build the bridge toward it. When doubt rises, answer it with this command. I have decided. When fear argues, say the law obeys decision. When fatigue whispers, wait, say I move. Now the man who repeats this enough times ingrains it into his soul, and his life becomes a series of victories strung together by choice. In time, you will notice that opportunities seem to come unbidden. Coincidences appear, and people of purpose cross your path. That is not chance. That is decision in motion. So I say again, the universe bows to the decisive. The man who decides quickly and correctly gains the loyalty of life itself. Others will sense your certainty and move in rhythm with it. You will cease to chase. Life will begin to follow your lead. Let these words be written in your mind before rest. Every decision I make is law to my destiny. I decide once and the world obeys. I walk in clarity, therefore opportunity walks toward me. For decision is not merely a thought, it is a decree. And when man learns to decree with faith, the universe must respond. The timid ask for signs, the decisive create them. Be the latter. Decide, and all else shall be added unto you. Every man begins with desire. Every dream is born in enthusiasm, but only persistence brings them to birth. The world is filled with men who begin. Few remain until completion. Emotion begins the work. Persistence finishes it. I call persistence the unseen hand of faith, the quiet rhythm of will that refuses to cease until the law yields its reward. Persistence is not struggle, it is loyalty. Loyalty to your purpose, your faith, and your destiny. It is the sacred discipline of continuing when others sleep, of believing when others doubt, of standing still when the wind of discouragement howls against your face. It is not loud, it is not glamorous, but it is divine. No man can hope to lead who has not first learned to endure. The dream tests the dreamer. It will deny him at first. It will appear distant, cold, impossible. But that is not cruelty. It is the refining fire through which faith becomes fact. Life tests your persistence to prove your worthiness for the power you claim. Thomas Edison said, "The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." Consider the weight of those words. 10,000 experiments, 10,000 defeats. Yet his spirit never bent. Each failure was simply another step forward. He did not see defeat as denial, but as direction. Persistence turned failure into feedback and the impossible into invention. Henry Ford endured mockery from men who called his dream foolish. They laughed at his simplicity, his vision of a motor car for the common man. But Ford had something stronger than intellect. He had stubborn faith. He pressed on when reason said stop. His persistence silenced his critics, and his faith built the engines of progress. Andrew Carnegie spent years as a poor messenger boy, enduring poverty and exhaustion. Yet he persisted with an inner conviction that he was meant for more. He saw each hardship not as punishment, but as training. When others complained, he said, "This too prepares me." His persistence built an empire of steel, and his name became synonymous with endurance rewarded. Persistence is the law that converts potential into power. It is the bridge between decision and destiny. Many men make decisions, few keep them. A man without persistence is like a candle in the wind, bright for a moment, extinguished at the first gust. A man with persistence is like a star, steady, unmoved, burning with eternal purpose. Every great principle of life will test you through time. Desire will start you. Doubt will attempt to stop you. Emotion will rise like a wave and then recede. Only persistence carries you when enthusiasm dies. When the fire of feeling cools, the furnace of faith must continue burning. Do not mistake persistence for stubbornness. The stubborn man resists reason. The persistent man obeys law. The stubborn man fights blindly. The persistent man endures wisely. The stubborn man insists. The persistent man commands. Stubbornness drains strength. Persistence multiplies it. The law of persistence can be summed in a single truth. The man who continues compels success to appear. It may delay, but it cannot resist forever. Every repetition of effort strengthens the invisible connection between cause and effect. Each act of persistence tightens the bond between faith and fulfillment. Imagine a farmer planting seeds. He does not see the harvest immediately. Days pass, then weeks. The soil appears silent, but beneath the law is working. If he digs up the seeds to check their progress, he destroys them. He trusts the process. So must you. Persist without complaint, and the law will not fail. Most men give up when the soil seems barren. They forget that the harvest belongs to those who wait with faith. Persistence is patience dressed in power. It is calm in motion. The man who can wait without losing focus commands time itself. Your subconscious mind learns through repetition. Each time you persist, you teach it that quitting is impossible. Over time, it accepts endurance as identity. Then persistence becomes automatic. You no longer debate whether to continue. You simply continue. Your spirit refuses to stop because stopping no longer feels natural. Say aloud each night before rest, I am loyal to my purpose, therefore I cannot fail. Each test strengthens my faith. I persist until success yields. Speak these as though you were signing a contract with your destiny. The subconscious, hearing such certainty, will make it law within you. The greatest enemy of persistence is fatigue, not of the body, but of faith. When results seem slow, the weak man grows weary in spirit. He says it's not working, but faith does not check the clock. It knows that every second of endurance is building momentum unseen. Lincoln endured failure after failure before greatness found him. He lost elections, lost business, lost friends, but never lost himself. His persistence was quiet but immovable. He said, I am a slow walker, but I never walk backward. That statement is the anthem of persistence, the calm refusal to retreat. There is a rhythm in the universe that rewards continuation. It is the same rhythm that moves the tides, that swings the planets, that draws the seed to the sun. When you persist, you join that rhythm. You align with law itself. When I speak of persistence, I do not mean reckless repetition of unwise actions. I mean steady adjustment guided by faith. The persistent man learns, refines, adapts, but never abandons. He changes his method when reason demands it, but never his purpose. His aim is fixed, his approach flexible. Persistence turns failure into servant. The lesson that breaks one man becomes the teacher of another. Failure whispers, you cannot. Persistence answers, I will. And the law, hearing faith, speak louder than doubt, begins to yield. There is no greater demonstration of mastery than calm endurance. To continue without complaint while others despair is proof of spiritual strength. The world admires such steadiness. Even your enemies grow silent before it. Persistence disarms opposition because it outlasts it. Think of the blacksmith. Each swing of his hammer seems small, yet with each blow, the metal yields a little more. Persistence does not look impressive, it looks repetitive. But that repetition is creation in motion. The blacksmith does not strike once and hope. He strikes until, so too with success. Strike until, believe until, work until, rest if you must, but never retreat. For persistence transforms repetition into law. Life often conceals its treasures behind tests of endurance. It asks, how much do you desire it? How loyal are you to your purpose? Every delay, every denial is an invitation to prove your faith. Those who persist pass the test. Those who quit repeat the lesson. Carnegie told me once, There is no defeat for the man who refuses to stop trying. He meant that failure cannot exist for the persistent. Time may delay him, but time itself will one day serve him. The man who continues long enough makes even fate his ally. Let persistence become your rhythm. Let it beat through your actions like a drum of destiny. Each step, each attempt, each day you rise and continue adds weight to your will. One day the pressure of your faith will break the resistance of circumstance. That day belongs to you. Remember also that persistence refines his character. The impatient man demands ease. The persistent man earns strength. The impatient man complains. The persistent man commands. The impatient man seeks comfort. The persistent man seeks completion. Every night before you sleep, recall where you stood firm. Praise yourself for each act of continuation. Gratitude reinforces endurance. The mind repeats what it is thanked for. By acknowledging your persistence, you teach your subconscious to value it. The secret of the 1% is not superior talent. It is refusal to yield. They outlast doubt, outwork hesitation, outweight the timid. Their strength is rhythm. They rise when others fall. They speak faith when others complain. They move forward when others freeze. The man of persistence becomes magnetic. Others trust him because he does not falter. They sense his steadiness and draw strength from it. Employers promote him. Friends seek his counsel. Partners follow his lead. The world loves reliability. And persistence is reliability perfected. Faith without persistence is emotion. Persistence without faith is labor. Combine them and you become unstoppable. Faith gives vision. Persistence gives execution. Faith is the plan. Persistence is the builder. You may not see immediate results, but you are always building momentum. Each act of persistence is like a drop of water on stone. At first, it seems powerless. Yet in time, the stone yields to the drop, not through strength, but through constancy. Do not envy men who seem to succeed quickly. Quick victories often vanish just as swiftly. The man of persistence builds on bedrock. His progress may be slower, but it is certain. His foundation cannot be shaken because it is laid in discipline. When exhaustion whispers, "Rest forever, rest briefly, but rise again." The persistent man uses rest as recovery, not retreat. The weak man mistakes rest for surrender. The strong man rests to renew his command. Each morning say, "I persist until success yields." Feel those words as truth. The law cannot deny the man who refuses to be denied. Each repetition of faith bends reality closer to obedience. There will come a day when those who mocked your endurance will call you fortunate. They will say, "You are lucky." Smile, for you will know the truth. Luck is persistence disguised. Let these affirmations be your nightly armor. I am loyal to my purpose, therefore I cannot fail. Each test strengthens my faith. I persist until success yields. Speak them until your voice becomes calm with certainty. The man who persists no longer wonders if he knows when. Do not measure success by speed, measure it by steadfastness. The flower that blooms overnight dies by morning. The oak that grows slowly shelters generations. So too with greatness. Let your roots go deep in faith. Let your patience stretch wide. Persist and time will become your servant. Persistence is not a virtue you learn once. It is a law you practice daily. Each day you recommit to your purpose. You renew your authority over fate. The law of success does not test brilliance, it tests endurance. Therefore, walk calmly. Expect delay, but never defeat. Expect struggle, but never surrender. Expect resistance, but know that resistance is only proof of progress. The wind blows hardest against the mountain that rises highest. And when you feel that you have reached your limit, remember this truth. Persistence multiplies itself. Each act of endurance increases your capacity for more. The man who continues once will continue again. Continuation becomes instinct. Infinite intelligence respects persistence more than talent. For talent without endurance dies. Endurance without talent triumphs. The universe was built by persistence, the same force that keeps the stars burning and the seasons turning. When you persist, you align with the rhythm of creation itself. Therefore, never curse delay, never resent difficulty. They are sculptors shaping your will into immovable faith. Every obstacle you outlast becomes a stone in the foundation of your strength. And when the victory finally comes, It will not surprise you, for you will know that it could never have been otherwise. The man who persists long enough becomes the law in motion. Nothing can deny him. Say it now with conviction. I am loyal to my purpose, therefore I cannot fail. Each test strengthens my faith. I persist until success yields. Repeat them until they echo through every fiber of your being. For when persistence becomes identity, success becomes inevitability. All progress begins in the unseen. The dream precedes the deed. The vision shapes the victory. Every building first existed in the mind of an architect. Every invention in the imagination of its creator. Every empire in the thought of its ruler. Nothing ever appears in the outer world until it has first been created in the inner world. Man becomes the image he holds of himself. This is the law of vision. The mind is a mirror reflecting outwardly the image impressed upon it inwardly. The world you see is the picture you have painted with thought. If your inner portrait is one of limitation, your life will frame it faithfully. But if your inner image is one of purpose, courage, and dominion, your world must bend to fit it. The average man looks at his life and says, "When things change, I will change." But the man of understanding says, "When I change my inner image, my world must follow." This is the secret known to all who have achieved greatness. They did not wait for proof before believing. They believed and the proof appeared. Imagination is not fantasy. It is prophecy. It is the preview of what will one day be experienced in flesh and form. The greatest mistake of most men is to dismiss imagination as child's play. Yet every work of genius was first a dream made vivid and definite. Thomas Edison saw light long before the filament glowed. He saw it so clearly that he could describe it as though it already existed. Henry Ford saw millions of automobiles on the road when the horse still ruled the street. Andrew Carnegie saw the cities of steel long before iron was molten in his furnaces. Their minds built empires before their hands ever touched a tool. The difference between the drifter and the master is this. The drifter believes only what his eyes can see. The master believes what his mind can see. The drifter waits for evidence. The master creates it. The drifter reacts to circumstance. The master designs it. If you wish to change your life, you must first change the picture through which life expresses itself. The subconscious does not argue with you. It accepts the images you impress upon it as fact. It cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically real. Whatever you hold repeatedly in thought becomes form. This is why I say guard your imagination as you would guard your fortune. It is your creative instrument, the workshop of infinite intelligence. When you fill it with fear, it builds failure. When you fill it with faith, it builds fortune. The choice is yours, and the material it uses is your belief. Many men fail not because they lack skill, but because they lack vision. They cannot see themselves as successful, so success cannot find them. Their words cry for victory, but their imagination whispers defeat. Life listens not to words, but to belief. Each night before you close your eyes, see yourself as the man you intend to become. Picture it in detail. See the place you work, the people who respect you, the strength in your bearing, the calm in your eyes, the confidence in your tone. Feel the gratitude of already possessing it. This feeling is the stamp that makes the image real to your subconscious. Repeat softly, "I live each day as the man I am becoming. My vision is clear and my actions obey it. The world reflects the image I hold." Do not rush through these words, feel them. The subconscious obeys emotion, not mere language. The more vivid the feeling, the faster the manifestation. When I first met Carnegie, I saw in him a man who carried his own vision like a crown. His presence alone inspired belief in others. He said to me, "I have already seen the future of industry. I walk in it daily. The world is merely catching up." That is the posture of the visionary. He does not chase success. He walks in its image until the world conforms. Ford once told me, "I built the car in my mind before I built it in my factory." Every bolt, every line, every part existed in his imagination before it touched steel. He used his mind as a mold for the future. That is what you must do. Your life is the factory of your thoughts. Build there first. Imagination is infinite intelligence speaking through you. When you receive a vision that stirs your soul, do not doubt it. It is not foolishness, it is instruction. Infinite intelligence does not plant seeds that cannot grow. It calls you to be the soil of its creation. You must learn to trust your inner pictures more than external appearances. Appearances show what has been. Imagination shows what can be. The man of vision lives in tomorrow while others remain imprisoned in yesterday. Others will call you unrealistic. They will say, be practical. But the practical man copies what exists. The visionary man creates what never was. Everything practical today was once impossible. The world laughs at visionaries until it kneels before their results. When you hold your image firmly, it begins to reflect in your behavior. Your posture changes. Your tone gains authority. Your eyes carry calmness. People respond differently to you without knowing why. They sense your conviction, and their confidence mirrors it. You are no longer begging for success. You are embodying it. This is why I tell you that repetition and imagination must walk hand in hand. Repetition without vision is hollow. Vision without repetition fades. To build a new image, you must impress it upon your subconscious through consistent visualization and affirmation. The subconscious builds through rhythm. Each night you repeat the same picture, the same feeling, the same command. It carves deeper into your inner mind. Soon the picture becomes so real that your behavior naturally aligns with it. You speak differently, move differently, and act as though success were inevitable. That is when the world begins to shift in your favor. Think of a sculptor chiseling marble. Each stroke seems small, but each one reveals a clearer form beneath. So it is with mental vision. Each repetition removes doubt and reveals destiny. The longer you hold the image, the sharper it becomes until even reality cannot deny it. Let gratitude be the artist's light upon your image. When you feel gratitude for what you imagine, you tell the subconscious, this is already mine. Gratitude seals belief. It changes imagination from wish to ownership. A man who is thankful for what he envisions has already claimed it. When you live according to vision, fear loses its hold. Fear draws its strength from what you see with your eyes. Faith draws strength from what you see with your mind. The visionary walks by the ladder. He looks beyond appearances and commands new ones to emerge. Lincoln was a man of vision. Even in war, he saw peace. Even in division, he saw unity. His vision was so strong that it carried a nation through chaos. He once said, I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. And because his inner image was one of truth and purpose, victory followed. Vision gives birth to direction. Direction gives birth to discipline. A man without vision becomes the victim of every distraction. A man with vision cannot be tempted by triviality. His eyes are fixed on the summit, and his every step serves that ascent. You must also understand that vision requires isolation. Great ideas cannot be born in noise. You must retreat daily into the silence of your own mind and see the picture clearly. The more vivid your vision, the less you need to explain it. Those who cannot see it will call you foolish. Those who can will call you a leader. Vision is faith in motion. It is not daydreaming, it is definite creation. The dreamer who never acts is lost in illusion, but the visionary who acts from faith becomes unstoppable. Vision without action is fantasy. Action without vision is futility. Combine them and you have destiny. The law of vision also governs how others perceive you. People treat you according to the image you project of yourself. If you see yourself as small, they will too. If you see yourself as calm, capable, and certain, they will feel it and respond in kind. The mind broadcasts its belief silently, and others receive it instinctively. I have seen timid men transform their entire lives simply by changing the way they pictured themselves. A man who once feared public speaking began to see himself as confident and capable. Each night he pictured himself addressing an audience with ease. Within months he no longer needed imagination. He had become the image. That is the power of vision made habitual. When you imagine your future, do not picture vague ideals. Be precise. See details so sharp that you could describe them aloud. The subconscious builds from exact patterns, not abstractions. Be as definite in vision as you are in command. Visualize success not only in result but in conduct. See yourself rising early with purpose, working calmly with focus, speaking with authority, acting with courage. These images are the tools of transformation. The man who consistently sees himself noble will become noble. Let this truth be engraved upon your mind. The man who sees himself victorious already is. For faith and vision are not separate, they are one. Vision is faith with form. Faith is vision with power. When you combine the two, the universe must obey. You may say, but what if I cannot see my future clearly? Then begin with the smallest image you can hold. See yourself confident. See yourself decisive. See yourself peaceful. Each clear picture builds strength for the next. The imagination grows through use. Be patient with your vision. A seed does not sprout the moment it is planted. It must take root in the unseen. Continue to feed it daily with repetition, emotion, and gratitude. Do not dig it up with doubt. The man who believes his vision, even when no one else can see it, commands the future. Soon you will begin to sense that you are no longer waiting for success. You are walking in it. The world will mirror your inner image. Circumstances will shift. People will respond. Opportunities will appear. They are drawn to the vibration of your certainty. Every night before rest, close your eyes and say, I live each day as the man I am becoming. My vision is clear and my actions obey it. The world reflects the image I hold. Repeat until you feel peace. That peace is proof that your subconscious has accepted the command. And once accepted, it will continue working even in your sleep to mold your outer world in harmony with your inner image. Vision is not an escape from reality. It is mastery of it. The man of vision does not deny what is. He decides what shall be. He does not curse the darkness. He designs the light. He does not complain about circumstance. He constructs new ones in his imagination and watches them unfold in time. Infinite intelligence favors the man who holds a definite picture of faith. For such a man is not drifting. He is directing creation. He has become a partner of the divine architect, and life, being loyal to law, must reproduce his image and form. So I say to you, picture yourself as one already fulfilled. Walk as though your dream were done. Speak as though success were present. Live as though destiny were fact. For the law does not delay, it obeys. The dream you dare to hold is the blueprint of your assignment. Protect it, feed it, live it. For the man who lives by vision commands tomorrow while others sleep through it. And now, before you rest, speak these final affirmations as the closing of this night's lesson. My inner image governs my outer world. I see myself victorious. Therefore I am. The law obeys the vision I hold. Let these words be your last thought before sleep. For the man who dreams deliberately awakens into destiny. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must decide who he is. Not what he wishes to be, not what the world calls him, but what he declares himself to be. For identity is destiny. Every thought, every habit, every outcome follows the law of identity. You cannot live beyond the image you have accepted of yourself. You may dream, you may hope, you may strive, but until you become the man inwardly, life cannot make you him outwardly. This is the supreme law, the law of identity. It is the master key behind all others. Decision gives you direction, persistence gives you strength, vision gives you form, but identity gives you being. What you are in consciousness, you will become in circumstance. The world has no choice but to reflect what you believe yourself to be. Most men spend their lives trying to change their results without changing themselves. They chase success as though it were an object to be captured. But success is not pursuit. It is recognition. You do not run toward greatness. You awaken to the truth that it already lives within you. When you remember who you are, success becomes obedience, not struggle. Failure occurs only when a man forgets his identity. When he believes himself small, weak, or unworthy, he creates conditions to prove it. Life never argues. It confirms. But when he stands upright in the awareness of his power, even failure becomes his servant. He no longer asks, can I? He says, I am. And the universe responds in kind. Say it now with conviction. I am sent here for victory. These are not words of arrogance. They are words of remembrance. You were sent here with a purpose too definite for failure, too divine for mediocrity. Infinite intelligence does not create accidents. It creates assignments. And yours is to master yourself and multiply your gifts until they become service to others. Andrew Carnegie once told me, every man who rises must first believe that he was chosen to rise. He spoke not of privilege, but of posture. The man who believes himself sent walks differently. His eyes do not wander. His tone does not waver. He moves with quiet assurance as one guided by an unseen hand. Others feel it long before they understand it. When you carry yourself as one sent, The world rearranges itself to accommodate your faith. People speak to you with more respect. Opportunities appear where obstacles once stood. Even your enemies hesitate, for the energy of conviction is stronger than the noise of doubt. The law of identity declares that belief becomes flesh. Whatever you accept as truth about yourself, you embody. You cannot escape your own definition. If you define yourself as limited, you will act in ways that ensure limitation. If you define yourself as powerful, you will find power where others see impossibility. Identity governs action, and action governs destiny. Look closely at the men you call great. Lincoln carried himself with the dignity of a statesman long before the world called him one. Ford believed himself capable of revolutionizing industry when others saw him as a tinkerer. Carnegie regarded himself as a captain of destiny when he still earned pennies. Their outer titles came after their inner conviction. The title successful was first awarded by their own minds. Man must learn to name himself before the world can name him. The power to define self is the highest authority life can grant. Every time you say I am, you write law upon the tablets of your subconscious. Those two words are the chisel of destiny. When you declare I am confident, I am capable, I am victorious, you give your mind a command that infinite intelligence must fulfill. But when you say I am tired, I am unlucky, I am broken, you issue a decree just as powerful but destructive. The subconscious mind does not filter, it obeys. It takes every I am as gospel and builds circumstances to match. Therefore, speak only of what you wish to be, never of what you fear to remain. Fission carves identity. Every thought repeated becomes a law written upon your character. The man who constantly declares defeat will soon act defeated. The man who declares victory will find his behavior changing to reflect it. Words become attitudes. Attitudes become habits. Habits become fate. Each night before rest, affirm these truths. I am sent here for victory. I am guided, guarded, and guaranteed by infinite law. Failure serves me. Success follows me. Say them until the words no longer feel spoken but remembered, as though you are recalling a truth long known but long forgotten. For in truth you are not learning these laws, you are awakening to them. Identity is habit of thought. You can change it by repetition as surely as a sculptor changes stone by chisel. Each statement of faith is a stroke revealing the form within. Day by day you carve away doubt, fear, and limitation until the master within stands revealed. That is what I mean when I say man is a builder of himself. Many men live as slaves to memory. They identify with past failures and call them truth. But your past is not your identity. It is your education. The man who allows yesterday to define him has surrendered his dominion. The man who extracts its lesson and discards the pain walks free. Lincoln suffered more defeats than victories before he led a nation, but he never identified with loss. He used each setback as material for strength. I will prepare myself, he said, and someday my chance will come. He prepared his mind, his heart, and his character until chance became destiny. Ford did not see himself as an employee, but as a creator. Even when he swept the floors of a machine shop, he carried himself as an innovator before invention made him famous. His faith and his identity attracted the men, money, and ideas necessary to prove it. Carnegie, when ridiculed for his ambition, simply smiled and said, "A man's belief is the measure of his height," and he was right. Men grow or shrink according to the image they hold of themselves. You must begin to live as the man you intend to become. Not someday, but now. Act from the identity of success before the evidence appears. Speak calmly, act decisively, move with faith. Every gesture, every tone, every thought should be an echo of the man you are becoming. This is how the subconscious learns who you are. Identity must precede accomplishment. To say I will be successful is to postpone power. To say I am successful is to claim it now. The future obeys the man who speaks in the present tense, for the subconscious understands only the language of now. The timid wait for validation. The decisive give it to themselves. The timid wait for signs. The faithful become the sign. The timid wait to be chosen. The destined know they were sent. That single change in identity separates the 99% from the 1%. You will notice how differently others treat you when you stand in your identity. People respond instinctively to confidence because it signals alignment with law. A man who knows who he is does not compete, he commands. He does not demand respect, he radiates it. And yet, do not mistake identity for pride. Pride is noise, identity is silence. Pride boasts, look at me. Identity whispers, I am. Pride requires approval. Identity requires obedience to purpose. The proud man exhausts himself defending illusion. The man of identity moves quietly through resistance as through air. Repeat daily until it becomes your consciousness. I am guided, guarded, and guaranteed by infinite law. Let those words be more than comfort. Let them be armor. For when identity is secure, no criticism can wound you. No failure can frighten you. No rejection can dissuade you. Your task is not to create greatness, but to remember it. The power that built worlds lives within you. When you act from this awareness, you cease to beg for power. You express it. Your faith becomes self-evident. Your authority becomes natural. This inner knowing transforms your relationship with failure. You begin to see that failure never touches the real self. It can only test the surface. Failure becomes a teacher instead of a tyrant. You learn to say, this too serves me, and you move forward unharmed. The man who knows who he is cannot be enslaved. The chains of fear, doubt, and conformity melt before conviction. Others may call you stubborn. In truth, you are loyal to your purpose, to your faith, to your identity. As you strengthen this sense of self, life becomes simpler. Decision becomes swift. Persistence becomes natural. Vision becomes clear. For all these laws are servants of identity. Once you know who you are, every other virtue falls into order. When I look back upon the lives of those I have studied, the Fords, the Edisons, the Carnegies, the Lincoln, I see one thread binding them all. They each believed themselves chosen. They each carried a secret awareness that their work mattered to something greater than themselves. That awareness created unbreakable endurance. When a man believes he is sent, hardship cannot defeat him. It refines him. Obstacles lose their sting, for he sees them as divine assignments, not accidents. He ceases to ask, why me? And begins to ask, what must this teach me? That shift alone is the mark of mastery. Identity produces peace. When you are certain of who you are, the noise of comparison fades. You no longer envy others, for you recognize that no man can replace you. Infinite intelligence expressed itself through you once and will never repeat that design. To deny your worth is to deny the wisdom of creation itself. Each night before sleep, affirm these truths with conviction. I am sent here for victory. I am guided, guarded, and guaranteed by infinite law. Failure serves me. Success follows me. Then, as you drift into rest, picture yourself walking calmly through life as one who cannot be defeated. See yourself speaking with certainty, acting with precision, thinking with faith. See others recognizing the quiet authority within you. Let that image become your final thought. For the man who falls asleep in his true identity awakens with the power of destiny behind him. And when morning comes, walk as one sent to win, not with arrogance, but with awareness. Each step you take declares to the world, I am here on purpose. Each word you speak carries the weight of intention. Each task you perform becomes sacred, for it expresses the power that made you. When you live this way, even the smallest actions become significant. You begin to notice a strange harmony. Things fall into place. Help arrives unasked. Doors open quietly. This is not coincidence. It is law recognizing its master. So walk calmly as one who has remembered his rank in the order of creation. You are no longer a wanderer. You are an ambassador of destiny. You represent the power that sent you. Let your confidence be its testimony, and when doubt returns, as it always will, remind yourself doubt is only forgetfulness. It is the shadow of identity. Speak these words until the shadow flees. I am sent here for victory. The power that made me now works through me. Failure serves me. Success follows me. You were not sent here to drift, to apologize, or to merely survive. You were sent to demonstrate the power of faith in form, to prove through your life that man can command his world by mastering himself. That is your divine assignment. Carry it faithfully. For when a man acts as one sent here to win, he ceases to beg life for blessings. He becomes the blessing.